All right, so good afternoon, class. Today we're going to be discussing poetry, prose, and also drama. This standard will be covered under ELA 4.RL.5, which is explain the major differences between poems, drama, and prose. All right, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
All right, very good. All right, so we will be integrating technology to teach poetry, and we'll be using digital tools to enhance poetry lessons. Our objectives are to be able to understand the structure and elements of poetry, as well as use digital tools to analyze and create poems. All right, so here's how I'm going to bring you into today's lesson. I'm going to start off by showing you a poem. Now, the young man did have some pretty powerful things that he spoke about within his poem. Um, but within this introduction to poetry, I would like to ask you, what did you notice about the poem in this video?
I noticed how the way he started the poem is the same way he ended it, which is an envelope stanza. And I also noticed how he used the ABBA structure throughout his poem.
Very good. That's exactly what happened. There were some other elements that were present in the poem as well. I don't know if you were aware of that, but one of the things that stuck out to me were um, he actually spoke about the different structural elements of a poem throughout the poem. Limerick, haiku, acrostic. Those are all different um, structural forms of poems. So if you can remember, at the beginning, I said we're going to discuss prose, poetry, and drama. But there are distinct differences between the three of those. If you can see these, would you please read them so you can kind of refresh yourself of what prose is, poetry, and drama?
Prose is the simplest form of writing told in chapters or verses as a story. Poetry uses formal structure and language to create emotion. Drama is written in scenes to be performed on stage.
Yeah, and although each of these are different, there is some overlap in between them. I think the major differences in the three is how they are presented. All right, so for your independent practice, you're going to explore. So this is independent investigation. There are different poetry apps that you could use to access poetry. There's a Poetry Foundation app. Kahoot is also an app that's embedded within your Clever software, in which you can either compose or analyze and annotate poetry as well. But for right now, um, I want you to complete the rhyme scheme that I'm about to put up. Stop sharing my screen for just a second. Chelsea, can you see the screen?
Yes.
All right. So I want you to read the poem, then review the bolded text in the second stanza.
Do you want me to read it out loud?
Yes, please. I'm sorry.
Okay. My garden. I squint my eyes and swat at flies. Sorry. Let's see. I see tomatoes red and plump, but there's a worm that makes me squirm. It moves, which makes me jump. Next up, I spy, roaming by, spiders creeping before my eyes. Their silky threads are deadly beds for all of the buzzing flies. I could have grown in a pest-free zone, chasing insects from their place. But creepy crawlies matter too. They need a home, a little space.
Now, the bolded text shows a metaphor which compares two things without using like or as. What is the purpose of this text? Is it to show that spider webs trap flies in the garden? It hints that the webs will hurt new tomatoes, or it suggests that flies and spiders work together in the garden.
I think it's the first option. It shows that spider webs trap the flies in the garden.
We'll click on that selection and then press submit. And because it was correct, it says keep it up. All right. So we're not going to continue with this. This is something, like I said, is independent work. It gives you immediate feedback. If you were to get it wrong, it would probably tell you to try again, and then focus on what it is that you did wrong, rethink it, and then we'll give you the option to select another answer choice as well. All right, for summarizing this lesson does involve you being able to compose your own poetry digitally. But for sake of this, I'm just going to focus on this second part, which says reflect on the differences between poetry, drama, and prose, and how the structural elements of poetry contribute to its unique form. Like I said, I think the main differences between poetry, drama, and prose is how each of these is presented. Of course, prose is presented in chapter forms, as if you would find in most books. Poetry sometimes involves rhyme, but not always. And then drama is basically written for a person to perform on stage. All right, this is the conclusion of our lesson. Thank you.